What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the den this morning. Again, as always, it's an honor, a privilege, a pleasure to get to chop it up with you every single day. Make sure if you're like still, I know some folks are still new to the mornings. We are live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Time. Let me fix this because as I can tell, it's already doing some other shit. Let's see how that works. Okay. And still live every night, 10 p.m. Central Time. Every day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I am your host. Yes, Ed Honcho. You can catch my social medias on Ed Honcho HTX. And appreciate everybody who has followed on the personal social medias. If you enjoyed the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Never sleep. Sleep is for the weak when the work ain't cheap. Nah, barely. As y'all can see, I'm still a little lingering. I gotta sip my morning coffee. I ain't had my morning coffee today. Make sure you follow the Den Proper Socials at Den Show Live, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Den Show Live at Gmail if you'd like to send an email about whatever may be on your mind. Feel free. And you can always, no, not that, that's the wrong button. Oh damn, I didn't get all the way down there. And you can always hit the Den line, whether we're live or not. 833-284, that was it. 3336-8332-The Den is the easiest way to remember that. And hit that Den Show shop, get you some of the Den Show merch. You want to get you a Never Seen a Hater in Real Life shirt, you can go to Den Show shop, copy one of those like your boy. Make sure you go to the Den Show podcast. Like I said, there will be more content dropping on the Den Show podcast. Just stay tuned for that. I plan to drop something there today. Or you can follow on iTunes, Google Play, and most other major podcast platforms. Still not on Spotify yet. I got to put a couple more episodes on there, and it should be up. No. If you'd like to make a one-time donation to the channel, you can always go to streamlab.com/The Den Show. Have the super chats cut off for now until we reach our goal, because, Google does something a little different, and it hinders the speed at which we can get to the goal. Patreon.com/The Den Show. If you want to make a monthly pledge to the channel. Shout out to James. Shout out to Stina Starry-Eyed. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Dan the Man. And shout out to Miss Goya. I appreciate the love and support, the long-term support for the channel, is greatly appreciated. Let me make sure we went through the proper protocols, and let's get on today's conversation. And so I'm talking about the birds and the bees, or we're talking about the birds and the bees. And again, this is the best conversation on the internet. And the reason why this is the best conversation on the internet is because you guys make it such a great conversation. Always so entertaining, always so interesting, because it's just certain angles that I may not think about myself that people bring to the table, and it's always good to hear. Make sure I got all this other stuff out. Okay, so I want to talk about the birds and the bees, but what I mean by that is who should be teaching the birds and the bees? And I know my answer. But, in school they teach sex ed. You have some parents who just never have that conversation with their children. There's some people who've never had that conversation, or their parents never had that conversation with them. And they end up in a predicament. What age is the right age to have this conversation? Is it too soon, inciting the wrong thoughts? Is too late? Well, too late. I think this is a conversation that we need to have, so we're going to get on that. But let's see who we got joining us this morning, and then we'll get into that. Culture, Nano, VC, what's the motherfucking deal? It's your boy Roman, what's the motherfucking deal? Rabbit 19, what's the motherfucking deal? Let me see, Eastside Hero, what's the motherfucking deal? Everything Life with Miss Nikki, motherfucking Nicole, how are you doing this morning? Miss Tina Holland, how are you doing this morning? What's the motherfucking deal? Shani Poo, what's the motherfucking deal? Keisha, I said Keisha, look, don't put no hands on me, please, I don't want no plex. Kanisha, yes, how are you doing this morning? But let's talk about it. I don't want to go all day like that. Oh, you got your N-word pass? Baker man, what's the motherfucking deal? My fault, hey, I didn't see you there. We're glad you could join us. Let's talk about it, man. Let's get into this conversation. Let's talk about, you ever done that here, called a woman the wrong name? It's a bad situation for everybody involved. Don't do it. Stay on top of your game. Jamal Roberts, what's the motherfucking deal? So here's my thing, right? Got it from a dude named Swigger. Yeah, that pass might not be certified. You might have he might have gave you a fake pass. But let's talk about it though. The birds and the bees. Now, me personally, I had this conversation at a young age, but you know, I told you I used to hit the library up like clockwork. I love the library. And so I would get books on certain things to have an understanding and try to figure out what the fuck was going on. And my mom, you know, she worked. But this is at the point, I think, this is when we first moved back this way. So we were staying with my grandparents for a little bit. And right after my mom and my pop split. And, you know, so she comes in from work and I guess she sees me reading one of the books, or she found one of the books maybe while I was at school or something. I can't remember exactly how it happened. But, you know, so she took the time, instead of just leaving me hanging, she just like, hey, you know, well, I see you got the books. Let's talk about it. You have any questions, you know, we can read them. And I was probably about maybe 8 or 9 or so, somewhere around that age. And so I'd kind of read along, and if I'd have a question and need some understanding, you know, she'd kind of supplement the information from the book, or books, it might have been more than one, who knows, and help me get a better, to help me to get a better understanding about what was going on. Now, people always say, well, Honcho, you know, how'd you go so long without having kids, you know, without, you know, doing any of the shenanigans? So my mom used to always tell me when I was young, stuck with me, right? Because see, a lot of people have the luxury of going out and popping out kids and leaving them at home with the grandparents, right? Well, my mom always had this saying. She said that I ain't gonna be no rocking chair grandma. So that let me know that she wasn't gonna post up with the kids just for me to be able to go run around and cut up and do all kind of bullshit. So I just figured it'd be better not to reproduce if I gotta deal with the shit all the time, and I don't wanna do that. That's kind of a joke, but kind of serious. But we'll figure all that out. We'll figure out how much joke, how much serious it is a little bit later. But at a young age, so the young age of 9, pardon me, I'm getting annoyed. The desk is fucking dirty. I should have done this before the stream, but it's gotta happen. All right. At the young age of 9, I had the conversation. Don't ask me why this is bothering me right now, but it is. But what age is appropriate? Is that too young? Should it be younger? Because you have people. All right, I'm done. I promise. I promise. It was just, I was getting frustrated. It was dusty in this bitch. All right. I had to do it. I had to fucking do it. I apologize. Shit was bothering the fuck out of me. I let it get too crazy. All right, we back in it. All right. So my thing is that too young? Is it too old? Is it? So when should you have this conversation? Because in California, you know, they're talking about trying to teach sex ed to kindergartners, and I have my issues with. I think all sex ed person should be taught at home. You know what I'm saying? I think all sex ed should personally be taught at home, or at least the foundation should be built at home, because certain families are going to have certain beliefs, right? And if you allow the school to have that conversation, then they get to set the foundation for what your kid believes, you know? 2 years old. My kid gonna know about it 2 years old. They still talking about Yo Gabba Gabba or some shit. But I think that you need to have this conversation as early as a kid can start comprehending. But at the same time, what impact does that have on the child now? Because, you know, children are impressionable. So if you start talking about certain things, then they're gonna start thinking about certain things, right? Conversations that you have will impact the process, the way they analyze, the way they look at stuff. So things they may have never thought about, things they may have never had an interest in, but because you start bringing up this conversation, now maybe they start thinking about it more. Maybe they become preoccupied with it. Does that cause a problem? But you kind of have to beat the school system. So now if you're in California and they're teaching your kids about women can have penises too and men can have vaginas at the age of 5, where your kid's mind is like a sponge and the most impressionable, how do you react to that? How do you defeat that? How do you get on top of that? Well, some of that you don't want to get on top of, but you know what I mean. How do you get ahead of the game? You know, how do you educate them? Because again, it's getting younger and younger in the schools, and the stuff that they're teaching is crazy and crazier. We talked about how also in California, a teacher was trying to explain, or it was at a PTA meeting or something like that, and you know, they were justifying why they're teaching basically pedophilia. You know, I think it was pedantry, I think what it was called, and they were about how the Greeks used to do it, and like they were trying to teach like the benefits it had to Greek society. There's some off the wall shit, you know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that's what it is. I think that you have to set that foundation. Otherwise, somebody else will have a different agenda, or they don't give a fuck about your kid, and they're just trying to throw as many people in one group as they can. And then going from there, they start indoctrinating people into certain beliefs that other people may not have, you know. -0. Wow. Oh, Ted, I was about to say that. We got some other questions to ask you. But, you know, so that's kind of the conversation I want to have today. And that's the direction I want to go in. What should be taught? How detailed? I mean, when you're talking to small children, should it just be the basics? And should you save some of it till, you know, they get older to get more detailed about it? You know, should you, you know, when they reach a certain age, should you know, kind of go more in depth, give them understanding? How much should you educate them on it? Does that encourage behavior or sexual behavior to expedite? I mean, does it make them want to have relations at an earlier age, or does it make them more aware of the consequences? I also want to discuss abstinence, or should you encourage safe sex? I mean, how should you go about this whole process? Because again, so let me reiterate that. What I want to discuss today is abstinence the way? Should you treat safe sex? How young should you be teaching your kids about sex, the birds and the bees? How detailed should you be? Should you segment the education? And what do you do if the school teaches something to your children that you don't agree with? And again, like I said, you know, in California, they're super liberal. I don't agree with men have vaginas and women have penises too. I don't agree with that. You see that going on, it was in Argentina or somewhere. They had like a transgender beauty queen. And she's going to the schools teaching that shit, you know. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, good grief. And she's going to the schools teaching that shit. So I think there's multiple layers to this. It's not about, today is not talking about sex. We do enough of that. Thank you, Rabbit. It's just talking about how you should talk about sex. So let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things. I don't even remember the lyrics to the song. But anyway, y'all got to see this because I know I sound a little tired today. But I did stay up a little bit later last night after I got off. And, you know, there's consequences when you stay up late. Miss Meat, what's the motherfucking deal? Rashida, what's the motherfucking deal? At 10 years old, okay. So I saw an article yesterday where this broad up north is trying to appropriate sex with kids by saying there's no scientific evidence proving that sex with kids are. Wow, that's fucking disgusting. That is fucking disgusting. What? A friend of mine. Wow. And so what's going on in that home? What does that make you question? Man, let's get this line open. Why is it called the birds and the bees? I forgot what the bird's role is, but I know the bees, because they pollinate from flower to flower, and so that's basically, I guess, the man's role, saying how they can seed or whatever. I don't know the exact term for it, but it's the birds and the bees. It's like it's something about the bees pollinate because they go from seed to seed. I think the bees are supposed to be the man, and I don't know what the bird's role is. The birds is like, birds be bullshit. Birds ain't about nothing anyway. Fuck them birds. Let's get this conversation going. So again, shout out to everybody who's joining this morning. It should be a very interesting conversation. I think we're going to have some disputes. I think we're going to have some agreements. It's going to be very interesting. Honcho HTX, if you want to catch my personal social media, man, hit that like button if you enjoy the content daily in the mornings and the evenings, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to this and you just catching on with what's really going on. Shout out to Man Up. Follow the Den Show on all the proper social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all Den Show Live. And you can send an email at denshowlive@gmail if you got something to say. I definitely love to hear it. Den Show Shop. Go get you never seen a hater in real life shirt. Go get you one of these, player. denshowshop.com. And yes, there are male and female styles. I don't have any non-gender binary shirts. Sorry, I apologize. Maybe next time. Make sure you go check out denshowpodcast.com. Make sure you're following that so that way when we start doing some live podcasts, you can also be a part of that conversation. Or sometimes you may not be able to listen or may not be able to watch the Den. You can always listen. Every night, 7 days a week, 10 p.m. Central Time, Den at 10. 5 days a week, weekdays, 10 a.m. Central Time, Den at 10. Make sure you're a part of that. Make sure you don't miss it. Tell a friend about that. Only tell a friend that you like about the Den. Sometimes we get on some conversations here that get a little far-fetched. It's not for everybody. If you got one of them friends who just basic as hell, they don't bring good conversations to the table, tell them you lead them where they at. But if you got friends who are, enjoyable conversations, bring them on into the Den. We're all friends in the Den. Let's open up this line. No basic friends, but cool friends. It's like a club. This is a community. Can't bring the whack friends to the community. Let me open up the line. I guess that helps too, right? Let's say that your kids go to school and learn it's okay to pretend you're a woman or male. You're a corrupted Democrat moron. Sorry, don't betray your children's mind. Birds lay eggs, bees pollinate, man. Fuck them eggs. Snakes lay eggs too. Can't trust them birds. Wow, K. Grace, I am offended. Good morning to you, ma'am. I am offended. Let me see. I don't know, 2 or 3 just seems really young to me. I say, 5 or 6. I think you gotta let them use. But again, if they're teaching it at 5 and in fucking schools in California, they trying to teach your kid. They got books and, my 2 daddies and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know. I guess you have to be proactive. So if they go on at 5, you got to go at 4, right? Yeah, the storks. I forgot about the storks. You know what I'm saying? Professor Trio, what's the motherfucking deal? But yeah, man. So okay, we fired up. We wired up. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the Den this morning? Oh, fucking Africa.
It's your boy Roman.
Okay, hold on. Let me fix the audio on this shit. I don't know why I gotta change it. Every time I gotta change this goddamn audio. What's the motherfucking deal, Roman? What's on your mind this morning, man?
Man, top of the morning to you, Honcho, and everybody, and my Den folks, man. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're blessed. Ate a good meal, got exercise, so let's get into this conversation. Okay, well, first of all, I'll say my story. How I learned about the birds and the bees was I got the infinite walk-in. I think everybody know what a walk-in is. Is you walked in on your parents. So, okay. Yeah, terrible. Terrifying. I had to be 8, 9, 10. I think I was 10. I was 10, 11. Yeah. And so it was me, it was me, my sister, my mom, and my dad. We was all talking in the room, laughing, watching TV. Then my mom had told my dad, "Hey, can y'all leave for a minute? I got to talk to your dad about something serious." So I'm thinking, me and my sister thinking, oh yeah, they probably just talking in there, grown folks shit. We don't care, we kids. So I leave, we go, because we was at my grandma's house. So my grandma in the other room, she in the living room. It's her house. So she in the living room. She's talking, and we just talking, and somebody had came over. One of my dad's cousins, which is my older cousin, said they would need to talk to him. So then my grandma was like, "Okay, Roman, hey, go in the room, go get your daddy." So I was like, "Okay." So I went over there to go to go get my dad. I just opened the door, expecting, hey, they was talking, and man, you already know what they doing, man. Whole having sex, fucking, bro. I'm like, whoa. So I don't know what I closed the door so fast. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I didn't know I was gonna get my ass beat. I'm all over the place. My sister was right behind me too, so we both scared. Man, we thought we were gonna get whooped. We didn't know what was going on. So we sitting there. My grandma was sitting her same seat. We sitting there looking at the TV, looking scared. And then my dad called both of us in, so we terrified. We're like, oh shit. And then they put some clothes on. Thank you, Jesus. And then that's when they kind of explained us, what was the virgin bees, what was sex, who did this, who did that, who did that. And as I got older, I learned the more details of sex. I think when you're younger, you just get the concept of, this is a penis, this is a vagina, this is this. As you get older, you start learning what else happened. And I think, I hate to say it, Honcho, but I think with the world we live in today, we have to start earlier. I think we do need to start at 10, 11. And I don't want that because I wouldn't say that's the best age, but only say this, because think about 10, 11, when you hit 13, you're about to go into puberty. That's for boys and girls. You get into that age, 13 to 17, something like that. So I think it's just best to teach your kids about puberty, about sex, at 10 or 11, because they can already say, okay, I'm getting ready into going into that. I'm prepared for that, And I think, with the world we live through today, with how big the LGBT movement, how big sex is pushed and sex is seen on TV and movies, I think it's best to teach them now. You don't want them to learn too late and be ignorant about sex. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do this. You need to teach kids about condoms and this and, the tiny details. I'm not about to explain details. Y'all niggas older than me. Y'all know what it is. Just the tiny detail of sex, I think, needs to be taught as you get older, as you get 13, 14. But I think just the core of it needs to be taught at 10, so kids can already have an understanding what it is before they even hit puberty, before they even have sex the first time. And that's what I think. What you think, Honcho?
That is very interesting. I think that's a peculiar way to have to discover about sex. But I guess better at some point in time than never. Who knows how long it could have been if that wouldn't have happened. So I guess that's a thing. Outside of that, you was a badass kid, so your ass need to learn how to knock. That's the problem. So y'all kids nowadays don't have no manners. Y'all ain't knocking on the damn doors. Y'all just barging in and shit. Now you barging to the sex conversation.
Hold up, man. See, they told us that they were talking. So we think we just go into the door, right? And they're just talking. Now, since I learned from that, I thought not.
When grown folks talking, you better knock. That's why they sent you out. You ain't supposed to be a part of that damn conversation. To change the whole conversation, I didn't have to have two serious conversations.
Oh my God, baby, they wouldn't have no damn serious conversation.
That was a serious conversation at the time, man.
Well, ever since then, I've always knocked on doors. Yeah. So, but I mean, you had to learn somewhere. But that's what I think, man. I think, what I said, with the generation we have today, man, you gotta teach them. You are not too young. I'm not talking 5, 6. Hell no. But I would say 11, 12 is the time you need to start thinking about talking to them about it. And then when they get older, you can explain more details. But hey, I always thank my mom and my dad. I think they did a good job of making it more comfortable to talk about sex. For some parents, you just can't. So I commend them for that. It matters on the parent, but that's why I personally think, man. But that's my call, man. I'm gonna let somebody else get on the line.
Okay, okay. I appreciate you calling, sharing your story, Roman.
Man, anytime.
Already. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you better knock, man. Say live with technology information day, they'll find out before you talk to if you talk to them about it, or they'll learn in school, catch them before the Google second man. Look, yeah, they get caught up in some other shit. And this is oh. Next thing you know, they taping ass cheeks and spitting on each other, and it's gone too far. So yeah, get that. But see, I can understand that, I just take this call. Oh, my fault. I apologize for your ears. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this morning?
It's Shannon.
Shannon, how are you feeling this morning, Miss Shannon? What's on your mind?
I think they should start a little earlier than that with kids. Because the way my mom did it is the moment we started asking about how our baby's made, that's when she started educating us.
Okay. So how old do you think that should be?
Like I said, we were like 2 or 3 when we started asking how our baby's made. And that's when she started talking to us about it, having that conversation and educating us. Like, she didn't go into graphic detail or anything right away about it, but she had that conversation about it so we understood.
Okay. So how much do you feel like a 2 or 3 year old can comprehend when it comes to a conversation like that?
Kids can comprehend quite a bit. Just people treating them like they don't understand, but if you talk to them, they understand quite a bit. Like I said, she started educating us that young, and because she did that, and when I started having sex, I knew to protect myself. I waited until I was grown, until I was like 19, when I started having sex, because she educated us.
Okay. So in this day and age, do you feel like people should preach, should they just, give proper sex education and, how to protect themselves, or should they encourage abstinence?
I think it's important that you talk about both of it. Like, you should talk to them about abstinence and kids, and tell them that if they do decide at which point they're going to have sex, educate them on contraceptions and condoms and diseases and everything. Like, when I was in school, it was mandatory that you took human development classes so you understand how your body was going to change and everything. But I already knew that because my mom started educating us right away.
Okay. So, when discussing something and mentioning, kind of what was going on in California and some of the agendas that they're pushing.
That woman needs to be put in prison.
But see, people are encouraging this. I mean, it's happening all over the place, and it's not just there.
Because that woman teaching kids how pedophilia benefits kids. No, she's a pedophile apologizer and needs to be put in prison. And needs to be kept away from kids.
Okay. But why do you think that this mentality is starting to come about? Why do you, because I think you can tie that in with, as we talked about, the 10-year-old drag queens and everything else that's going on. Why do you think that this mentality in America is starting to change more and more towards justifying these underage interactions with children?
Honestly, I don't even know. Because I honestly can't even answer that, because I just shake my head at that. Because no grown adult should be teaching any children about pedophilia. If they want to teach kids about sexual education and, like I said, human development and whatnot, okay, that's fine. But that starts at home so the kids aren't getting the wrong information. And that's what happened with us.
I think that's ideal.
But that woman needs to be in prison, though. Because people like that, those are the kind of people that you see in articles and stories where they're advocating on behalf of pedophiles being welcomed into society. Like, I've read one article where members of the LGBT were marching on behalf of pedophiles and trying to get the age of consent down to like 6 years old.
So now there's so things like that, and this is why I have some of the views that I have towards these things, and not that I know that it's not all of them, but there is a significant, and that's not saying most either, but there's a significant number of people within that group that are willing or engaging in this type of behavior. And that's why I say, to me, it's more about the kids, because now you're trying to infiltrate the minds of children. Once you start, getting at them at a young age, well, I mean, the damage is done. I talked about the young child at the LGBT parade who had the rainbow hair, and he couldn't have been any more than between 8 and 10 years old, out there with a shirt off, twerking and doing all this other stuff, and people are encouraging this behavior.
Yeah, so that's why it should be some consequences on the parents, because parents know not to have their kids out there. These people are doing it for attention. They're doing it for publicity because it's being treated like a trend nowadays. People are just following a trend. That's what a lot of people are. They trend followers. They try to, they follow what's popular, what's being talked about, what's happening. Like, that's just like, when I was younger, the craziest thing that people were doing was them fucking beauty pageants, where parents were going crazy with them fucking beauty pageants.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting also.
And were having their daughters undergo cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, that's fucking shameful.
Like, one lady was even trying to get her 9-year-old daughter breast implants.
That's fucking disgusting. And that's what I say, there's some sick people out here, and they use these children as toys and other things. They don't treat them like real adults, and that's unfortunate for those kids because they grow up screwed up. But and I agree with you, that is the parents' fault, that is the blame, and I agree with you on the pageants. I think that's disgusting too, because they're trying to grow these kids up and make them look and do things they should not be concerned with. They should be being able to be children. But does it concern you, even with both scenarios, the amount of people that show interest in these activities, that encourage these activities for children? Is that not indicative of a bigger problem in America?
Yeah, that is predictive of a bigger problem. All right. That's why there should be consequences for parents who do that. Like, I just shake my head at it because it's crazy. Because my mama would have never did no bullshit.
Oh, shit. I remember back when they used to have a cat.
Yo, my mama whoop your ass. My mama would whoop your ass if you went outside and anything like that. Would they be having these kids wearing these beauty pageants?
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I definitely know that it would not be encouraged in my family. So you said that at a young age, 2 or 3, to start having those conversations when they start asking questions. Okay, I can understand that. And do you, as they get older, you feel like then you get into more details as they get closer to certain ages of having better understanding of certain things, that you kind of continue the education. What is the limit of sex education, do you think, that the parent can have with their child, and where do they stop, or is it a ongoing thing? How do you know where it should be?
Well, it was ongoing for us. Like I said, my mom just started off with the basics. And then she got more into it as we got older. And then she talked to us about puberty. And it wasn't just my mom. We had like boys and girls clubs in school. They talked about it. They educated you on how your body's going to change, how you're going to start having feelings. And my mom was deeply involved in that. She was involved in everything. Like, even there was nothing the school was teaching us that she didn't know about. And if they were teaching us something wrong, she shut that shit down.
Okay. So I have one.
Like, she did not let the school get away with it. Like, hell, they scared of her when she come to school.
Does your mom
they got her name and shit.
Did she come to school with the bonnet on?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But there were times when she would come to the school in a hurry. She just, throw on a t-shirt, some jeans, and her hair would be a little bit messy because she came to school in a hurry.
That's all good. Okay. Long as she ain't
if
coming
something
with the
happened,
robe and the bonnet. You know, she got there expeditiously, but no robe, no bonnet. We all good. Now I have one other question, and okay, and it comes back to this agenda that we talk about. How big of an impact do you think that, you know, this inclusionary, I guess I don't want to call it a mode. We're just in this, and you know, right now the LGBT thing is huge. Now, how much of an impact does that have on sex ed in the classroom? Because now
LGBT views.
Yes, you know, in the classroom, how much of an impact, you know, when you're teaching sex ed. So if you're teaching, hey, because when we had sex ed, they would divide. It would be a certain point where they'd have the boys divided from the girls, and they would teach the same things, but I guess it was more comfortable for them to hear from a woman certain explanations, and you know, it'd be more comfortable.
Yeah, that's why they had a girls and boys club.
Yeah, but and then you know they bring us back, and we'd hear from both parties actually. But so my thing is this: how much of an impact does that have with the LGBT? So you have a boy who feels like he's a woman. Should he be placed in the girl sex ed classes since he feels like a girl, or a girl who feels like she's a boy, should she be in the boys classes? Because we all know without the help of surgery and all these other things, they're not going to progress naturally in the same way. So how do you think schools should handle that type of situation?
No, I think that they should still be taught the regular way, because quite frankly, I do not believe that little kids feel like they're a boy or feel like they're a girl. I really don't feel like they believe that. I think that's something that their parents are telling them they are. Because like I told you, I've seen videos where these parents nowadays are brainwashing their kids into believing they're transgender.
Okay.
So they should be taught the regular way.
Okay, but what if their parents step in and say, well, no, my child thinks that they are this, that, or the third? Should there be
That is the parents projecting that onto their children. Projecting this feeling that, oh, I'm trans at such a young age onto their children.
But should there be a third party class for people like that?
Honestly, I don't even know, because the regular way works. Because that's how we were raised. That's how we were taught it, and it worked. Like when I hear puberty at 11. And I wasn't freaked out, I wasn't scared or anything, because I was well informed about it. I was well informed about what was happening to me.
Okay. I think that does help. You know, I think that does help, because you know, as you start growing and you kind of understand what's happening to you, there's no surprise when you discover hair and all that other stuff going on. You're like, wait, what's happening here? You know, you understand because you've had those conversations, so you're prepared. And I think it is important. I think it is crucial that you have those conversations young with your youth, or that, you know, if you've had them young, instead of being oblivious to what's going on and then letting these other kids who don't know what the fuck they talk about, you know, end up being the ones teaching your kids. I think that that is important. Okay.
I know, that's why my mom has always been a standing point in all of that. She made sure you got the right information. Nobody was teaching you the wrong information. Nobody was trying to teach you this LGBT shit like that at a young age, because she shut that shit down. She wasn't going to have that.
Okay. You can't stop them now. They're too powerful. They've taken over.
No, my mom would find a way. Yo, my mom would burn down the school. She has to.
Don't do that. Goddamn arson.
Because
that is a hate crime.
my mom scared quite a bit of my teachers. Like, when they heard my mom was coming to the school, they got scared.
See, if she threatened to burn stuff down, I'd be scared too. This is my job. Shit, I want my job. You gonna burn my place of employment down? Shit, don't do that.
I thought it was funny because I've never before in my life, before then, seen a bunch of grown adults look like a bunch of little kids being punished.
Okay.
Like even the superintendent was scared.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to add to that conversation, Miss Shannon?
No, that's all I have for now.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you calling in and sharing your story with us.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Adios. Y'all ain't know I was bilingual. I hit you with that adios. Hold up. DeMarcus, What the hell? What $279 worth of KFC? What can you get from KFC for $279? Everything. Interesting. So interesting perspective on that. And I think that's something that's important to discuss today too, because I know some of you are younger and some of you are still dealing with this. But in my day and age, and when we had sex ed classes and things of that nature, there was none of this LGBT movement going on. So it was no, there was no backlash from, I feel this way or I identify with all this. This is new shit. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this morning?
Good morning, Honcho. It's Mr. Rabbit.
Good morning, Mr. Rabbit. What would you like to share in today's conversation, sir?
I have a question.
All right, what's up?
Why are 12-year-olds wondering where babies come from?
No, I mean, that's more than a curious age. I think people wonder that at a much younger age, honestly. You want to know how you exist. You got to think about little girls who play with dolls and baby dolls and all that stuff. They promote this to young children. So it's only going to be a natural curiosity to wonder, well, where do babies come from? How did I get here? I think it may not be super deep, but there's a period of reflection or curiosity about your own existence. And the stork just ain't cutting it. Nobody's believing that dirty bird is bringing babies here.
I hate storks.
Well, what did a stork ever do to you?
I don't know. I just don't like them.
Yeah. So, do you think that 12 is too young to be asking where babies come from, or too old? What do you think about that?
I'd be lying if I said that it was too young. It's not too young. It's a little bit old, but I agree with what with what the last caller was saying, that it should be lowered. Because
how old do you think it should be?
Like 11.
So what you have to understand, and this is why I think it's very important too, is and I can agree with what Miss Shannon called in and said, because at first when she said 2 or 3, I was thinking like, but I guess once you kind of explain, the details of the conversation and how you have to progress with it, it's a progressive conversation. It's not a one-time conversation.
Kids aren't gonna know what a condom is.
Huh? What?
Kids aren't going to know what a condom is.
You would be surprised. Depending on what kind of neighborhood you've grown up in, you've seen them motherfuckers on the street. You know what they are for. Again,
I
like
found
I said,
a white stuff in it.
well, that's disgusting there. But so I have a question for you, Senior Rabbit.
Yes.
You're a younger gentleman. Have your guardians had this conversation with you, or have you had to learn on your own?
Well, there's actually kind of a little story behind that.
Okay.
I asked my mom if we were actually ever going to have the birds and the bees conversation. She was like, no. I'm like, is that? Because you know what happens.
Okay.
Because I spend a lot of because I usually spend a lot of my free time on the internet, and yeah, I kind of figured it out that way. So
Okay.
I guess you could say I learned on my own.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little bit weird.
So when you're surfing this internet and you're learning these things on your own, are you discovering, contraception, preventative methods? Are you seeing things about abstinence? Like, what kind of information are you coming across as you're, self-educating yourself on this process?
Well, there's this video. Shut up, Daisy. Sorry. I came across this one video of this Super Mario Bros. Voiceover, and Mario described how babies were made with Italian foods. Would you like to know what he said?
No, not at all.
Good.
Not
I'm not going to tell you anyways, because I'm not about that. I'm not going to.
I'm gonna be honest, Mr. Rabbit. Now, like I said, I don't know your experience and things of that nature. It's none of my business. But I don't know how qualified Mario using Italian food to help educate you on the birds and the bees is is. So you may have to do a little bit more research, or maybe find maybe a more official source. And I'm sure it was very entertaining, but I think there's some things you may have to learn, may have to know, and it may be a little bit uncomfortable. But I mean, you're already of the age where certain things are happening. You just have to kind of figure some shit out. But I'm gonna tell y'all one thing not to rely on, as entertaining as the show is. Big Mouth is not a sex education show. I had someone tell me that. They were like, yeah, you know, I heard it was a sex ed show for you, and I watched that shit. And as funny as the show is, it is not a sex ed show. So please, don't use that either. And yeah, DeMarquis says lay off strawberry milk. You're drunk.
Well, I just woke up, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to add to that, Mr. Rabbit?
About the Mario thing. I know what he meant with using the Italian foods.
Why Italian foods? Why? What was it?
Well, he said, I want to explain it, but I don't want to ruin this for you.
I'm not gonna watch it, so you're not gonna ruin it for me. So.
Okay. He said, I don't want to say it, but I really don't want to say. I don't feel comfortable saying what he said. But let's just say he used spaghetti and he used ravioli. Those are the two he used.
Okay.
I'll let you figure out what they mean.
Okay. I'll do my damnedest to figure it out, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I have no idea currently at the time. Okay. Well, what about in school? Do they teach y'all? Do y'all have education classes in school?
If they did, I wasn't fucking paying attention because I don't remember.
That's terrible. You need to pay attention to that. That could be the difference between life and death, or bringing in an additional life in this world. You got to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Fuck it. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, you on that YOLO shit. That is no good. You're gonna be a deadbeat dad, Rabbit. I'm sorry to hear that. Anything else you want to add to the convo, man?
Nah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your call there, Mr. Rabbit.
All right. I'm gonna go get breakfast.
Okay. Well, don't let the dog get it. Interesting, right? All perspectives, right? All perspectives are welcome in the den, whether you are fornicating with ravioli and spaghetti and whatever else is going on. This is a whole crazy deal. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this morning?
Man, it's Roman one more time. I have to tell you something, Honcho.
All right, what you got, Roman?
Man, you know, I'm looking at all this shit, right, Honcho?
Mm-hmm.
And I just really, I don't get the LGBT. Let me explain why, man. Especially, what can two women raising children teach a boy how to be a man? Or how can two dudes teach a woman how to be a woman? You know, that's why I have this issue, bro. Well, when going back to what I think Shannon has said, and you asked would you have like a third class or alternate class? I'm gonna say no. Now, would it happen? I think realistically, yeah, because we're in the hype of the LGBT movement. But I feel like should it happen? No, because damn, look. This is a big problem, Honcho. Let me tell you why. Because when you have two gay parents, right, two dads, two moms, man, and they, let's say they adopt a son, or the two moms adopt a daughter, man, you just promoting them to be gay, and they're children. Just that all they see. They don't see a man and a woman kissing and hugging, and they see two men or two women. So they're gonna start thinking, oh, this is normal. Well, this is how I should be, and they're children. And they don't know because they're oblivious. They don't know about that. And you have children out here who actually believe they're drag queens at 10 years old. Transgenders at 10. Are you kidding me? the thing is, I'm not gonna blame the kid because the kid don't know. I'm blaming the parents and this stupid ass movement. Yeah, I'm calling it stupid because I'm tired of the agenda being pushed. Because you not just okay. If you want to attack the adults, okay, fine. The thing is, adults to know what they are and how they are. But you attacking on kids, man, you ruthless. I feel you have no heart. You attacking on kids. Nickelodeon right now, Xbox, PlayStation. These are things kids use or watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
On their Instagrams, they have their symbols, right? Their logos with the LGBT flag in the back. Yeah. Nick, you check Nick right now. They hold logo right now is the LGBT flag. Disney, all that shit. What does that tell you? They shoving that shit to your throat, and people are not even realizing. So many shows are now openly having gay kids on cartoons and on live action shows. I'm talking about kid shows, man. And that's a fucking issue. Yeah. And well, all I'm saying is this: 2 men cannot teach a woman, and 2 women cannot teach a man. I just totally disagree with that because what can they teach? Yeah, a man can teach a woman. This is probably how a dude's gonna approach you and all, but man, they gay. They don't what? You know, they don't approach women. That goes for 2 women. Women don't approach men. A gay woman. So I really think that should not happen, in my opinion. And for me, he never taught us sex ed, and you know, I'm about to go to the 10th, so I don't know, but they didn't teach it at Sterling. They didn't teach it at none of my schools, man. The only school they talked a little bit about it in 6th grade was that was Clear Lake, and that was predominantly white people, so they was teaching it a little bit over there. But these black schools, which is the schools I feel like these predominantly black and Hispanic schools, which I think is the schools that really need to hear this, are not talking about it. I mean, it's sad, Honcho. I see a pregnant girl every day at Sterling. You know, and dudes getting these girls pregnant back to back to back. They don't even know. The thing is, I think of a parent can't teach them. I mean, I think the school's job is shit to help these kids. But a lot of these schools don't care because shit, it's about making money, man. So what? Man, that's all I had to say, man. That's all. That's all. I just had to put that out, that input real quick.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing it, Mr. Roman.
Oh man, anytime. And one last thing, I like Mr. Rabbit. Mr. Rabbit, he's a curious case, bro. I mean, Mr. Rabbit's somewhat weird, but I like him, man. He cool at the same time. He a little weird at the same time, man. But that's my call.
All right, appreciate it, Robert.
Anytime.
Oh man, and my name. It's not that being gay is an insult. It's just that there's a clear and obvious agenda that's being pushed. You know, again, I'm a person that a firm believer that, and that's why I questioned the age when we had this conversation. I'm a firm believer that sexuality should not be pushed upon children. I think that, you know, they should be able to enjoy their youth. They should be able to enjoy themselves, you know, before getting infiltrated with all of these alternative thoughts that a lot of people like to that are pushing. And again, Nickelodeon, a lot of these, I mean, you see all these people, and I've seen it, I posted it up, all these companies have gone and changed their logos into rainbow colors. You know, we talk about the pride movement being a big thing. I would like to say, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, you know, the pride movement is what, a small percentage of the population. What about, you don't see this happen during, I don't know if there's a Hispanic movement month, but I know Black History Month, right? You don't see these companies change colors. You don't see these, you know, this is a recognized month that's been around for quite some time. You don't see them change colors. You don't see them go to, what is it, I don't think it's called Pan-Africa, but you don't see them go to the red, black, and green. You know, you don't see them do that. You don't see them do any of these things. But you see they automatically change this with the quickness. And that's why I say, one, I don't believe it's genuine. And I think it's just a marketing ploy. We're woke. We with the shit. And I think it makes other people think a certain way. But at the same time, I think these big companies are duping people. You know? And so, Temple of Black Eroticism, what's the motherfucking deal? And so, again, I don't think that it's genuine. Again, I think it's the cool thing to do right now. And that's part of my problem, is that we're pushing this idea. Now, if you are, you know you are. And you don't need all of this other extra propaganda to be forced upon you. Again, I have no problem with, them having a parade or doing whatever, but when you see consistently, you see all these images of young kids being brought into this, look, it's tough to see. Because like I said, there were some things that I shared the other day on the Twitter, and it's just like, when Roman called it, he's talking about, two men raising a girl or a boy, whatever it may be. And this is two men. I don't know if they're dads of this kid or whatever, but one of them got on, so they was kissing him in the mouth. I am opposed to that. I talked about, female parents kissing their kids in the mouth. Like, I'm just opposed. There's a certain age where this is not acceptable. And I don't think dads kissing their kids in the mouth is ever acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I have nothing against these people. They have to live their life, but it's the agenda, this mentality that's getting almost forced upon you that you have to accept it. I don't hate you, but I don't agree with the lifestyle. And so with that being said, it's like, I'm not going to go out and try to undermine anything you're doing until it infringes on what I got going on. All right, Miss Tina, appreciate you coming through. But I'm not going to be, I'm not an ally, because there's too much foul shit going on for me to sit here and say, I support it. Like, people are obviously overlooking a lot of elements in it. And again, that's why I say, when it comes to like black rights and certain things, I'm the same way. I'm not finna go out and support every black issue that happens. I'm gonna look at it individually. Hey, y'all with this is fucked up, man. This is just some old regular shit. Everything is like that across the board. So people say, oh, you just hating on gays, man. If I'm hating on gays, I hate on everybody. If that's the case, I'm just hating on gays. And so, was there was just graphic, but it has the dramatic and decrease of systematic oppression. And yeah, that's what it is. It's like, here, I don't understand, trust me, I used to know people who, I had, all the cats I used to talk to, they talk about going, gay bashing, and you talk about even go to civil rights, that people used to go out and target black people. But those times have changed. It's nothing like it was. If you're getting married and you're doing all that other stuff, then the oppression is nothing like it was. Now it's just a cool thing to do, You say, watch the ride of the generation be the most confused in history. And that's what I'm saying. You say, Will with on live TV. And that's what I'm saying. They're less than 2% of the globe, but you would swear it's 50, 60% the way that everything is getting pushed. Again, it's like, I have no hate towards anybody. I genuinely mean this. But there are certain actions I just will not support. I will not support your actions. This does not mean I hate you, the individual, even though you may execute those actions. And that's what people have a hard time separating and understanding, is if you're out there encouraging behavior that is detrimental to the youth, detrimental to others actually too, I cannot support that. But you have a lot of this stuff that they're trying to normalize, and they'll use certain people. Well, this is, this person is this, and it's okay. It's like, yeah, but that's not what most people are doing. Most people are doing something different. You talk about pride, all prides are not like that. Anytime I see something pride related, some tomfoolery going on, and I'm sure every step of the way it's not a bunch of shit, but it's very welcoming of certain behaviors. It's very welcoming of every person I've ever talked to, and even when I did some of the videos on the D-Wade thing and some other, that there were gay people who came on there and said, yeah, pride is no place for children. That said it out of their own mouth, so it's not me just hating. That they themselves, y'all go to pride parades, no place for children. We had people in here who called in and said they've been to pride parades, they've seen them or passing through and just saw some things that were just like, wow, that was no place for children. But yet, you have all these people encouraging this. When you're encouraging a 10-year-old should be worried about watching some fucking cartoons, going out and playing in some mud, or, doing some old off-the-wall shit. a 10-year-old should not be overly concerned with makeup. I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, because I'll be damned, no one ain't fit to be made all up and shit like that. You know, it's not justifiable. And we're living in a society where I say, you know, when things are becoming slowly more and more acceptable, that they're not even trying to justify it now. You know, it's like that they're having a show with a bunch of fucking 10-year-olds, right? That are drag queen, they hanging out and shit like that. I wouldn't even know what a drag queen was when I was 10 years old. You have this type of entertainment is going to encourage other kids, encourage parents to push that on their children, because they can't give their children any other talents, but they can buy them some clothes. You know, they can, he would give them the knuckle thing or a handshake, as it should be. As it should be. And, you know, but here it is, how, you know, I was talking about this the other day, how easy is it to get attention for doing some foolishness as opposed to having a real skill or a real talent these days? It's a lot of people who get celebrated for existing. You know what I'm saying? You said you didn't even know blacks were gay till you got 13. How did you discover that? And so, again, it's a lot of stuff that is just, I really can't get with. But hey, let me tell you something. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't hate the gays. I'm gonna tell you why I don't hate the gays. Because the more of them that jump to the other team and take whoever else with them, well, that means there's a lot more available women who need the warm embrace of a man. And so for that, I thank y'all. So they're doing us a favor. Doing us a favor. Hey, you know, hey, if they don't want it, we'll figure out something to do with it. So like you're trying to force this idea that I'm a woman basher, female pimp. You're just mad because I have taken I took your pistachios. That's not woman bashing. That's just finesse. And so that's what it is. You say you feel that way about bi men who go to the other side. But yeah, female pimp, you've had hatred for me ever since I pulled that jack move on your pistachios. So that's unfortunate. So that's the agenda for us to focus on this. And there's child sexual trafficking. It's not just children, either men or women. Human trafficking is going on. No one's talking about it. Yeah, I mean, this is. I'm not even gonna go. That's another conversation. We're not going down there, right? That's a whole different conversation. That's gonna open up another can of worms. I already know Temple. She was some of that wild shit. I didn't seen the page. I can't do it. I salute you and what you enjoy, but I can't do it. You know. But hey, if you ever decide to lighten up, you know, hey. But seriously, getting back to the birds and the bees and the age, you know, at what range is this appropriate? I think Shannon had a good point, a very good point. Once the children start asking, that's when you need to start having the discussion. But I want to talk about what is the impact on the parents who don't want to have this discussion with their children. Are they setting their kids up for failure? And if you don't want to have this discussion, then should you be having kids? I mean, this is something you should probably think about before you become a parent. And that is, you know, am I willing to have these tough decisions? Like, I think most people become parents because they just want to have the baby, or the biological clock is ticking. You know, that, you know, it's just, oh, I want the cute little baby, or I just want to give birth or whatever. But I don't think they think about when it comes to this point, you know, it's time to have these tough conversations, you know. Because you have to get it early on, because again, the kids they talk about all kind of shit, especially now with the access to information that you have. But along with that access to information, you have the access to bad information. And with the majority of these big media, big tech companies, they are left-leaning. And let's be honest, who is siding with this agenda? Who is pushing this agenda? Who is pushing this movement? It is generally the left. I don't think you see any conservatives or people who would identify necessarily as independents kind of with this, you know what I'm saying? And so I think it's very, very tough to engage in. See, look, that's why I said I wouldn't try to even entertain it. Y'all gonna start taking this conversation somewhere. I see it happening. You say it's different in public schools versus homeschool kids. They say that, homeschool kids are generally more intelligent, So I gotta get on my grind so we can put the little one in homeschool, because that public school shit. And we talked to her about this stuff too, even though she's a little immature, but I talked to her about, as far as, hey, men are men, women are women. Just because you change the clothes that you put on, it doesn't make you different, and we have a standard of belief here, and that is that we don't really buy into that, the shenanigans that society's pushing. And so I know that, we have to kind of got to get ahead of the game, because you see everything that's going on. And this is, here in Texas, and Texas don't play that, but it's still some school districts where they're trying to change it up. You got so many of these gosh darn Californians coming to Texas, taking all their jobs, but, and bringing their ideologies with them, But here's the thing, okay, very interesting, my name. You say that when they're homeschooled, you get to censor them from things. But how much of that is hindering their social development? Yeah, we don't want y'all here. We really don't want y'all California here. Y'all fucking it up. Y'all really fucking it up. Like, I'm all, no bullshit to say. I give my old lady a bunch of shit because she from Cali. Now, she don't think like your typical Californian, which is great. But y'all over here, y'all coming up here fucking it up with your fucking beliefs and your Nike Cortezes and your goddamn gangs and and your bear flag, leave that shit out there. You fucking Dodgers fans, we don't even want that shit. Y'all go back to fucking Cali. You know what I'm saying? But you're not welcome here in Texas. God damn it. We need to build a wall around California. That's what we need to build. Build that wall. God damn it. Look, I ain't know until it was too late. Look, nah, I did though. But like I say, she don't have a Cali mentality, so it's acceptable. I had to question. I had to do a lot of questioning first. It was a lot of tests that had to be passed. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, California, y'all on that old Hollywood shit, and y'all bring a lot of weird shit with y'all. They got like a super AIDS. They call it Cali AIDS. You know what I'm saying? But even still though, she still has some of them little bleeds. I be having like, I don't know. Nah, we don't want to see. That's the problem. Nah, we cool. We slow boogie down here. Y'all know how I go down in H-Town. We slow. We screwed up. Y'all on that hyphy shit. Doing that weird shit, dancing like clowns and shit. We don't want that shit. We just two-stepping. We cooling over here. We don't want y'all shit. Y'all take that back to California. I'm not gonna lie, I got some cool partners from California, but they've been in Texas more of their life than, all that other shit. I agree. Hollywood and LA. To me, those are migrant cities, in my opinion. They're not real cities to me, because people go there looking to get famous, and I'm going to go to Hollywood, I'm going to make it. I'm going to go to New York, I'm going to make it. And, okay, you keep believing that. What is this? Hour 87? You ain't even know how long. Look. I'm not even finna address you. Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand. See, this is what California people do to you. They start getting you all off subject, all off track, and then trying to change up the conversation. So maybe so all I knew was family, solid family structure, and I seek that. But it just seems men just want to have open relationship. What? Nah, it ain't don't. You don't be see now we're man bashing. I'm just fucking with you. But here's the thing though. And this is something we talk about, and I don't want to get in this conversation, but it is what it is. How much of men wanting to do that is embraced by or is reflective of this new mentality of women who, there's a lot of women out there who, they want this sexual liberation. They want to be able to do what they want. They don't want to be wifey. They want to be free to be the stallions and the Nicki Minaj's of the world and all that stuff. You know, so there's a different mentality. I think that it's tough. I think you gotta do a lot of testing of the waters to figure everything out. So it is what it is. Yeah, Shannon, you know, you've been eating that church's chicken, and it's done blew you up. It's done got you, you know, you just enhanced your rate. You increased the reaction. But seriously though, getting back to it, you know, she was talking about the Amish and she was talking about homeschooling kids and things of that nature. But although that gives you the ability to control what they do and don't learn, they're not going to be in homeschool forever. They're not going to be sheltered forever. And if you don't have certain conversations with them, when they get out into the world, it's going to be like, it's going to be an experience. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you withhold them from that, it could be overwhelming. And so, I don't know about withholding information. I think you want to give them the information gently. I think you want to help them understand, especially as they're growing, as they're increasing in age. You want to be able to maybe get more specific on it. But if you just hold it all and just not say anything, and if you try to wait till it's too late, don't take the Dr. Rabbit method and wait till they're 12. That is too late. Game over. I was fucking at 13 consistently. Okay? And that's not to brag or anything like about that, but that's just to tell you that was back then. This is now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going on at a younger age, you know? And so, I mean, my thing is just this. You gotta have those conversations. Now, even doing all of that, you know, I've been fortunate not to have made the mistakes. I don't want to call it a mistake. You know, I have not had kids or whatever else it may be. But the thing about that is, why? Because my mom had those conversations with me at a young age. And so, because of that, I have been kosher. You know what I'm saying? Who was monitoring me when I was 13? Shit, nobody. My mom was working out of town, and I had a significant amount of freedom. You know, she would come around, you know, on the weekends or whatever, because she was working, she went to go work some turnarounds or whatever. And so I'd have a lot of freedom, and I would be wilding the fuck out. Like, I would be throwing parties, doing whatever the fuck I wanted to, getting into all types of goofy ass shenanigans. And so, with that being said, hey man, you know, it is what it is. I'm thinking about some of them, some, not all the memories were good, but missed opportunities. But probably good that I missed those opportunities, so it is what it is. But man, look, but I still had an understanding of how the process went. Wrap it up, you know, the consequences that came with it. So yeah, I was enjoying myself, but I wasn't making the certain mistakes when you know, they were going on. So there's that. Now that was during the summertime for the most part, so I can't say a lot like, oh, she was never around, but that was during the summertime. But it was time to go to school. She was home for the most part. But then school was not that far down the way, so I could, if I was late, which I always was, I could always walk. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den this morning?
Oh, it's Shannon one more time.
All right, Miss Shannon, what's on your mind?
I just wanted to say that you're right. The parents who don't have this education with their children are setting their kids up for failure.
And so do you think
they don't talk about, because if they don't talk about these things with their kids are going out there getting the wrong information and just running wild.
Yeah. So you think that kids that are more sheltered, that aren't getting this information, end up kind of worse off in the long run?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Let me tell you, one of my friends, her parents never taught her about sex at all. Never had this conversation with her about sex. So when she started having sex, she getting the wrong information from the wrong people. They taught her nothing about birth control, contraceptives, STDs. They taught her nothing. They didn't talk to her about it at all. And she's running out there like a wild teenager. And when she got a disease, she didn't even know how to handle it because she didn't know. Because nobody ever talked to her about this.
That's tough. So
yeah, parents who do not educate their kids at such a young age, immediately when they start to ask, you are setting them up for failure because they won't know how to handle the situation. And it makes them more easier to be pressured into things as well.
Yeah.
Because everybody was my school that I went to in my school district, they had a baby problem. Okay. And what I mean by a baby problem, they had to build in a nursery because they had kids dropping out who were having sex and getting pregnant and having multiple kids.
That's tough.
So they built in a nursery so these kids wouldn't have to drop out.
So what you gonna do? Check on your babies in between class and shit?
Yeah.
That's awful. That is awful.
Because they had a baby problem. They had a baby problem because some of them parents were not involved in their kids' lives like that.
Yeah.
They weren't educating their kids. They weren't talking to them. They just weren't involved like that. They weren't making time to educate their children.
Man, that's tough.
So their kids are going around having babies and dropping out of school and not knowing how to handle it.
Is Kansas City? How would you define? Is that a kind of more liberal or conservative area?
No, they conservative as hell out here.
Well, that is one thing that I do see more so. Make sure you're following all the proper.
Like Missouri is a red state.
Okay.
Always been a red state. They ain't never change it.
Okay. I'm saying
but
because
you
some
know
of these
what?
big cities end up
as liberal as my ass is, I like it. Like my family's pretty liberal, but we don't agree with that bullshit that's going on.
Now,
that's as most people out here, they're just like there are people who are conservative and liberal, but we on the same page out here. We ain't down with that.
Okay. So this is my question. This is why I say that because certain even in red states, a lot of these cities are starting to turn blue, turn them into purple states or whatever you want to call it. 'Cause even some of the major areas out here in Texas, the cities are blue, but the more rural areas are remaining red. But the reason why I'm asking that is because it seems that, and I'm being honest, that a lot more conservative-minded folks, it depends, I think, if they're more religious conservatives or not having the conversation. You know what I mean? Yes, all the damn Californians coming to Houston fucking it up. But they're not having that conversation,
Yeah, and that's the problem right there. They're not trying to have a conversation like the liberals are. And that's why these agendas are easily pushed, because they're not trying to have that conversation. Like I said, nobody could pressure me into sex when I was growing up because I was educated about it immediately. Nobody could make me feel a certain way, think a certain way, or persuade me any way, shape, or form. Because my mom made sure that we were already educated about it. And she took care of her own 3 kids, 13 other kids, and brought in 40, 50 other kids.
Damn.
Nobody could persuade us no kind of way.
Okay. Well, that's good. It's good that you have a solid foundation, behind your understanding. And
she did all this as a single mom on her own, holding down 5 jobs.
Hey, man, 5 jobs. That's
yeah. Because she took on extra jobs because she brought home my grandmother, who was being abused by the adult home that she was living in. So she had to take care of my grandmother, had to pay for all the medical equipment that needed to take care of my grandmother, had to undergo training and everything how to care for my grandmother.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah. And she had a brother who was on drugs as well, living with us, and she was helping him get off the drugs.
Okay. Your mom was putting in a lot of work and taking care of a lot of folks. That's commendable. But now, so what do you do for your mom now?
I help her. I come around to her home and help take care of her. She had a terrible accident at one of her jobs a few years ago, and it required her to have multiple surgeries to fix it. She used to work as a forklift driver, and there was an accident where her and a bunch of employees were badly injured.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Wow.
And she had to have knee replacements, her collarbone operated on, her back operated on multiple times. And it's sort of like forced her into retirement, and she doesn't like it.
And she sounds like, from what you're saying, she sounds like she's a go-getter. And so, when you get forced
yeah,
into
she
having
is.
Okay.
Well, she got paid more money than anybody at her job because she took risks. She wasn't afraid to negotiate or demand what she wants.
Okay. Well, that's commendable. So how much of that have you gotten from her? How much of that personality would you say that you've absorbed from your mom?
A lot of it, because I don't let nothing hold me back. Like, I go get what I want. I don't make up excuses or use anything as an excuse to go get what I want and to achieve what I want, because the only thing that can hold you back is me. I can hold myself back, nothing else. I don't know. Like, my family votes mostly Democrat, but even they know the Democrats ain't shit.
So why not flip the script?
They know they ain't shit. Like, they know both political parties aren't shit. That's why they say you just picking the lesser of two evils. You just picking who you want to be poisoned by.
But how do you feel that the Democrats are lesser of the two evils?
They're not. It's just who you think you want to be poisoned by. Do you want to make a deal with the devil or the devil's little brother?
Damn,
do you want a painful death or do you want not so painful and slow?
Man, look, just get it over with.
That's pretty much what you're doing.
But see, who killing you slow? It's the damn. I ain't forget it.
It's whoever you feel is killing you slow. Like, nobody votes every one way. It's whoever you feel is basically killing you slow. Like I said, this is a red state. My family's pretty liberal, but we on the same page with the conservatives and shit out here. Like, we don't have these problems because everybody's on the same page. Whether you're liberal, conservative, or independent, everybody's on the same page. That's why Missouri is not changing from a red state. Fuck that shit.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Anything else you want to add to that?
And about the gay thing, yeah, that's being pushed on kids. Like, my second cousin is 17 and he's claiming he's gay. But the only reason he's saying that is because when he was a little kid, he was molested by 3 women.
Damn.
His father, he was like my first cousin is his mother. She was married to his father for a while, and then that relationship went bad, and they got divorced after being married for 7 years. And his stepmom, her sister, and a female friend, from what I know, molested him.
Damn. How old were they?
So he was pretty young, about 7 or 8.
Okay. And then how old were the step folks?
I don't know, about their mid-30s, late or early 40s.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Like, I didn't know anything about it until a few years ago when she told us.
Wow.
Because I remember I was a teenager and I met her husband before they got married, and I would have never thought that he was the way he was.
Yeah.
Would have never thought that.
Yeah.
But so that's why, he doesn't trust any women who are not family. So he's claiming he's gay because of that.
That's why I say I think of a lot of it honestly, and regardless of what people say, I think a lot of it is mental, and I think a lot of it is a mental response to traumatic events, kind of like the one you just mentioned. And I think that people respond differently to the situations, and so I think that's where a lot of this comes from, because obviously there is a problem in this country with people and children. I mean, point blank period. The more we have conversations in the den, and the more we talk about different things and look at different, there's obviously a problem with people and what they're doing to children and what they're trying to encourage children to do. And this is having traumatic
That's why
impacts.
I don't support the LGBT community like that. Like, I know I've somehow, I've hung out in the bars and the clubs with a few friends of mine, but we don't support the LGBT community like that. We don't. Because they got pedophile apologizers and pedophiles inside their community who's using their movement to try to push pedophilia on children.
That's tough. Again, I agree that it's a very precarious situation to be in. That's why, again, like I said, I don't hate anybody, and if you have good intentions for what you got going, that's fine and dandy. But I cannot support.
That's why my friends, they don't go to them parades. They don't speak on behalf of LGBT. They don't do any of that shit because you're not supporting me. Because like I said, there's some people in the LGBT community trying to push pedophilia, trying to say it should be recognized as normal. That it should be normal for a grown adult to have sex with a child. Hell no.
No, that should not be. There's no justification in that period. Point blank. I mean, who was it? Who was it that just said Louisiana, I think they just said they made it legal for 16 to be married without a parent. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like
I read somewhere that it showed that since 2000, there have been over 2,000 cases where little boys and girls as young as 12 and 10 were legally married with the consent of their parents to people who are 24 to 37 years of age.
I believe it.
They call it child marriages.
Mm-hmm.
While some states have completely banned child marriages, only if I remember right from the reading, I think only 11 states have completely banned child marriages. But the other states haven't. Like they said, over 2,000 little girls from age 10 are legally married.
That's crazy.
To men of the ages 24 to 37 years of age.
And
the same with little boys who are 12 years old.
But what do you think people are getting out of that? Because do you think these are parents who want to be removed of their responsibilities of dealing with children, so they're like, fuck it, I'll marry the kid off and I ain't got to deal with it? Do you think they're getting some kind of kickback, some type of compensation for it? What do you think is going through the heads of these people? Do you think that they feel like their child is legitimately adult enough to be married? Like, what do you think is encouraging this behavior?
I do think they're benefiting from it in some kind of way financially. Like they might have got some kind of payoff to consent on it. I do believe that's what it is. Just like when we see these celebrities doing this shit to their kids, they're trying to keep themselves relevant. They're benefiting because they're trying to keep attention on them, trying to keep their name in people's, trying to keep themselves relevant.
Yeah. I can understand.
And that shit is just disgusting to me because it's the kid.
Let me see. I mean, I don't have anything else to add to that. I don't know. I have nothing else to add to that.
No, because Mama, like I said, we never had that kind of problem when I was growing up. Like, anybody tried to touch us in any way, you was pretty much a dead man. Because my mom killed you. She was married to my older sister's father first, and she sent him to the hospital, and they had to save his fucking life because she stabbed him nearly to death. Because she said he hit her in the face, so she stabbed him to death.
Well, goddamn, you gotta handle your business. Hey, look, don't be no punching bag. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, he was touching her face, and like I said, because my grandma, when she got married at a young age, 15, 16, and her first marriage was abusive, for some reason, the women, we have this thing about our face. I think it starts with her. And yeah, he touched her face, and she thought as he was, he hit her in the face, she said, so she stabbed him. Like, he slapped her face to try to wake her up, and she stabbed him.
I'm trying to wake her up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it like a hard slap? Was it a
And
tap
she
slap?
once bit off his finger.
Oh, your mama crazy.
She's not crazy. She
she crazy.
don't touch her face. Don't touch her face. Like, don't hit her in the face.
That's crazy. Biting the finger off. What encouraged the finger to get bit off?
Because he put his finger in her face.
That's crazy.
Is what she told me.
That's crazy. Okay, what you say? That's crazy shit.
She said he was yelling at her and everything, and he had his finger in her face, and so she bit that shit.
Like, it's one thing to, you finger check somebody, you poke them in the forehead and do all that other stuff, and you grab that motherfucker, maybe break it.
No, she said that she said he was aggressive with the way he was behaving towards her and his finger in her face, so she bit that shit off.
What does that mean? That could mean so many things. There's like a scale of aggression. Aggression can be, kind of rapid movement. If it's not a physical connection, there is no justification for biting off the finger. There's no unless there has been physical contact made, there's no justification for biting off the finger. There's nothing you can sell me. Like, you can talk about finger in the face, and yes, that's very disrespectful.
Well, he didn't slap her in the face, so he deserved the stab. I mean,
okay, I'll justify the slapping and the stabbing.
She was pregnant with my sister, and he slapped her in the face.
Okay, I don't know about to death, but your mama might be a little crazy. She sounds like a G, but she put in the work, and I respect all the hustle and the go getter. But she might be a little crazy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Not crazy, like I said. Her mother, no, she's not. Like I said, my grandma had this thing about her face because she was being abused with her first marriage. Mm-hmm. So she had to fight back in order to, show him his own blood and shit, she said.
Mm. So did he draw blood when he slapped her?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm just.
Like I said, she was sleeping and she was pregnant, and she said somebody hit her in the face.
So how did she know?
And so she stabbed him. Huh?
How did she know that it was him who slapped her in the face if she was asleep?
She really didn't know. She just stabbed him.
Oh, so she's
crazy. Like I said.
Yes.
She felt somebody smack her face. She felt somebody smack her face, so she stabbed him.
Oh, time out, pause, hold up. So without proper confirmation, this is where the den goes. Welcome to the den, everybody. You know, I'm glad y'all could join us today. If this is your first time, hit that sub button, hit that like button. Now let's come back to this story. So she's not absolutely positive. She's not absolutely sure, but she felt somebody slap her face. So she stabbed him. Was he the person nearest to the situation?
He was standing over her while she was sleeping.
Okay. Okay.
I asked him about it, and he admitted that he was standing over her while she was sleeping.
Okay.
And he was trying to wake her up, so he did say he did slap her in the face.
Okay. So he was trying to wake her up, so maybe she was sleeping tough. So do you think that she could have possibly overreacted to a slap that was not as aggressive as she thought it was and just kind of maybe startled her?
Maybe. It could be the fact that, you know, like I said, she was sleeping and she was pregnant with my sister. So, you know, a lot of women had an instinct that you have to protect your child even when you're pregnant with them. So that could be why.
I understand the instinct of protection, but the instinct of attempted murder, good grief.
She did attempt to murder him. Like, she called the police. She took care of his wounds and everything long enough for them to get there.
She issued the wounds. What you mean? If I kill you, then I call the police. But if I kill you and I call the police, hey, you know, I murdered him, but, you know, I took care. I tried to kept him alive as long as I could. So can we, like, downgrade? No. If you are the one that almost killed him, that you attempted murder, you might not have murdered him. Regardless if you healed him up or not, that's still attempted murder. That's, if you try to...
It was unintentional.
It was unintentional.
Yes.
Okay. I got I got nothing for that. I mean, you know, I can tell that you...
Like, I'll give you the finger thing. Like, she shouldn't have did that.
She shouldn't have stabbed him either. I'm thinking, like, at first I thought this was like hey, we're having a conversation, and then out of nowhere he just, you know, hauled off. I mean, he just cocked that motherfucker back and just, you know, slapped her, and it was just really trying to cause some harm. But she was sleeping, and depending on why, I don't know why he was or wasn't trying to wake her up. But, you know, some people can be tough to wake up, and sometimes...
Yeah, but I don't know how hard the slap was.
Exactly.
It could have been a hard slap.
But it could have been a soft
I don't know
slap.
that yet.
But it could have been a soft slap. It could have been just a, you know, kind of a, hey, wake up. Hey, wake up. But because you become startled and you react to it, you know, you could overreact and think that it was much harder than it was. Were there any bruises left on her face from the slap?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, well, how long ago was this? I mean, the research is
19. My sister was born in 1985.
Oh, this is a cold case. This is over with. What is going on? Okay.
Like I said, I mean, he shouldn't have touched her face.
But what if she wasn't waking up? So what should he have done? Should he have thrown a bucket of water on her?
Well, she lets us touch her face, but...
But how should he have, if she wasn't waking up and he was trying all reasonable methods, what should he have done to wake her up?
Just let her sleep and let her wake up on her own.
But what if it was an emergency? What if it was something important happening?
I don't even know if it was an emergency.
It became an emergency. After she woke up, it became an emergency, obviously, because she stabbed and killed him.
Well, I'm going to clarify that. I didn't know if it... I asked him was it an emergency, and no, he just wanted her to get up to cook him some breakfast.
Well, that's an emergency.
That's not an emergency.
Not an emergency. You know, you might be starving to death. You might not, how long had it been since he had last ate?
She is pregnant.
Okay, but how long had it been since he last ate?
He wanted breakfast for himself.
That's what I'm asking. When was the last time he had eaten?
I don't know.
This is important stuff. This is very important stuff, you know.
I've asked him, and like I said, he wanted breakfast for himself. He was hungry. She's pregnant.
So, you pregnant women can't cook?
You could, but it wasn't really worth him being stabbed over.
But how did he know he was going to get stabbed? He thought that she was going to put the knife to the food, not the knife to him. So, you know, he just, oh man, this is. Yeah, look. She been wanting. She like your mama was wanting to stab that nigga for a long time. She just found the right situation to just jug him up real quick. You know, just hit him up real
Oh
quick.
no, because my mom, she jokingly says that if you haven't thought about killing your spouse, you were never in love with them.
Oh, your mama is crazy. You have certified, put the stamp on it. Go ahead, send this down the hall to the office and file that away because your mother is
She's not
crazy.
crazy. Like I
Yes.
said, it stems from what my grandma was going through.
But what does he have to
What
do
has
with
her
what your
here?
grandma was going through? That's what I'm saying. See, this is my thing, and this we supposed to be talking about the birds and the bees and what's too young and everything. But we have to talk about this because this is my thing, and this goes on to women carrying old trauma with them. And I'm not saying it's not a thing, and I can understand why, but you can't take your old traumas and apply them to new men. And if you have not healed or healed to an extent from a certain situation, you gotta mend yourself to a workable situation. Because if you know that you got some issues that you carry with you, and you bring a new person into this situation who has no idea about any of this shit, who is not familiar with all of this shit, and they get caught up in it because you have these old traumas still attached to you, it's not a good look. It's a bad situation, and it's a lot of women that do that. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect because I don't know who was listening last night and listened to Miss Lady Tia's call. It was a great call. If you have time, go back and listen to like the last 20, 30 minutes of the call last night from Lady Tia's, the last call. It was a great call. But
Yeah, I was there in the stream. I was listening to it.
yeah, it was an excellent call. It was one of the greatest calls we've ever had in the den. But my thing is, you cannot carry these traumas, or you have to be willing to work through these traumas because you cannot place someone else's actions on a new person. You know what I'm saying? And again, I think that's what a lot of women do. They carry old traumas into new situations, and then
Well, if it makes you feel any better, she apologized to him.
No, it doesn't make me. Did it make him feel any better?
Well, she had no problem getting up and making his breakfast whenever, so
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, they could have made the breakfast then. Yeah, hey, I'm sorry I almost took your life. Let me make you a little breakfast. You know, if I was dead, I can't eat this breakfast. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is, come on.
I mean, she nursed him back to health.
But she put him in the situation. He wouldn't have had to be nursed back if she wouldn't have put him in the situation.
I mean,
I don't believe that everything life. Nigga, I stay away from the crazy ones. Look, they get too attached too quickly. I don't need them problems. I'd rather.
no, I'm not like that. Like I can't. I'm not gonna. No. Like I agree with you. I thought when I was hearing it, it was crazy too.
No, it is. It is crazy. It's
like when they talk about the finger thing, and like it's the reason why like they still keep in contact with each other, and when he sees her, he know not to put his finger in her face
because he don't have one.
He does have one. They play back.
Oh my God! Look, hey, I'm gonna be honest. Your mama did put that man through a lot of trauma, and if he carried that over to his next relationship, shame on him. But it's that man is scarred for life, literally. Probably more ways.
He's not charged for life. If anything, he's a man whore.
He is scarred for life, literally. If he'd have been stabbed,
he's a man whore. He has over 20 children.
Okay, well, that's a different situation. That's not what we talk about. Just because he got 20 kids, he don't need to be stabbed before. Does he take care of his kids?
Yes.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that then. Because you got a lot of motherfuckers out
here. It doesn't matter.
Yes, see, you got a lot of motherfuckers out here got 1 kid, 2 kids, and don't take care of them. So
I know.
If he got 20 kids and he's handling his business, then I can't be mad at him for that as long as he's handling his
all his kids are grown.
Okay. But if you're doing what you're supposed to do and you're a part of their lives, you're financially supporting them, and you can afford to do it, then do what you got to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you are, again, just popping them out and then just leaving it just for the mom to handle and not being any kind of support system or not being, a quality parent in any kind of way, then that's the worst.
Well, he took care of his other kids. He wasn't around when my sister was growing up anymore.
Okay. Well, he's probably scared. Shit.
Whatever.
Biting our fingers and getting stabbed. I'm gonna have to let this baby make it because I'm not gonna survive this baby if.
But you abandon your kids?
Man, it's abandon your kids. It sound like abandon your life. If you're dead, you can't take care of no kids. So, I mean, you getting stabbed up, finger bit, having to get reattached. Look, man, that's a tough. I feel for that man. I don't know what he'd been through in life, but you know, my heart goes out to him because this sounds like he went through a very traumatic, vicious experience.
It was not that traumatic.
What? Your finger getting bit off is not traumatic? Like biting through bone off, finger off?
I don't know because he wanted to stay married to her.
Man.
So it couldn't have been that traumatic.
Man.
And he loved her, so he loved the shit out of her. So couldn't have been that traumatic.
He's better than me, buddy. That's all I got to say. I give that man an award because, man, he better than me, Jack. Ain't no way. Ain't no motherfucking way.
So my mom was not, she's not one of those type of women who will take abuse. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, she's giving it. She's the abuser. She's not taking it.
She is not an abuser.
When you sending somebody to the hospital for your actions on multiple occasions,
She took care of him, okay? She nursed him back to health.
She put him in the detrimental situation. If she wouldn't have put him in bad health, she wouldn't have to nurse him back to health.
He shouldn't have slapped her in the face.
How do you know the intensity of the slapping if it was not of an important reason? Breakfast is important.
Because he said he did hit her in the face.
But how hard did he hit
He
her in the
admitted
face?
this.
But you didn't say how hard.
I don't know. He didn't say. When people don't tell you how hard they hit somebody, they're trying to hide how hard they really hit somebody.
Okay. Well, what about how vigorously they stab someone?
I mean, she hasn't done that since.
Well, I wonder why. You know, you get away with it once, you might not get away with it the second time.
No, she doesn't. Like, she's just, like, my mom has always been protective. Like I said, we didn't have any problem with pedophiles because my mom would kill you. If you touched us in any way, shape, or form when we were kids, you were dead.
Well, apparently she'll damn near kill you for touching her also, or not even touching her. You might not get killed for not touching her, but you'll lose a limb. So, I mean, this is tough shit happening right now. This is... I don't know. I need to hear something happy. I'm sad now. Like, you know.
Why?
Because this
Why would you be sad?
This is just sad, you know, that there are men out there in America getting abused like this, and nobody's around to tell their story.
He's not abused.
You know,
he shouldn't have hit her in the face.
He didn't hit her in the face. It wasn't like he turned her. He ain't, you know, ball up the fist. It could have been a slight tap. She could have been startled, and she probably had the knife under the tent. He pulled the knife out and just got to jugging, and then bowed.
Well, how would you feel if you were a woman, you sleeping, and something hits your face? You don't know what it is. All you got is this instinct that you and your baby might be in potential danger.
Hey, depending on what it is that's hitting the face when you sleep, some women like that shit. That's all I'm saying, you know. But I don't know. I mean, different strokes for different folks, you know. But
like I said, all you got is this instinct that you and your baby might be in potential danger.
Man, look.
You standing over somebody like they sleep while they sleeping like a creeper.
Maybe he was just want to make sure that she was healthy and breathing okay. Are there any instances of sleep apnea in your family?
Yes and no.
Yes and no? What do you mean yes and no? It's either yes or no. If you got some sleep apnea, some sleep apnea. If it's not, it's not.
Not exactly sleep apnea, but I don't know. I got insomnia. I've had problems with insomnia before.
That ain't the same thing. That's different.
Yeah, I hardly ever sleep.
That ain't good. You gotta get you some sleep. You need some sleep. You gotta get you some rest. Take it from a motherfucker that don't get enough sleep. You gotta get you some sleep. All right. So here's the deal.
I don't sleep because I'm used to being up late hours. Because like I said, when we were taking care of my grandma, I spent most of my teen years helping my mom care for my grandma. So I'm used to being up late hours.
Okay. You know, All I'm saying is this: slap a sleeping pit bull. I'll slap a sleeping pit bull. If it's my pit bull, I'm gonna slap it. Just go do what I tell it to do. If I slap the damn pit bull, it's gonna act right. Now I ain't gonna slap somebody else's pit bull. You know, I don't know this pit bull, but if it's supposed to be a lady I'm with, I should know her, and I wouldn't expect this type of reaction. Obviously, he did not expect that type of reaction. Okay, so this has to be some. There had to be some level of comfort to engage in this behavior. He was not expecting to lose his life over a breakfast request.
He did not lose his life. He is very much alive.
He lost a part of his soul that he'll never get back.
He did not.
That figure don't even.
If he lost his soul, he wouldn't be trying to stay married to her.
And look, he was afraid. What are you talking about? He was afraid. I'm sure if she done stabbed him up and she done bit her finger off, she done probably made other threats. Nigga, you leave, that's your motherfucking ass. She said he was afraid. He was a victim. He was
no, because my mom would let you leave.
No, I don't believe that.
He left her to raise my sister on her own. She said, "Okay, fine, motherfucker. You want to leave? Leave."
Nah, he probably lost his pinky toe to do that. He had the motherfucking me. Look, everybody kiss
no, my mom is not violent like that.
What do you mean not violent? You just said she just stabbed a man and put him in the hospital and bit his finger off. Oh, come on, this is violent.
He hit her in the face. Man, he hit her in the face.
Man, I'm not buying it. We have not determined the level of intensity of this slap. It could have been a tap. It could have been.
Well, the fact that he won't tell how hard he hit her in the face, that's leaving me to believe that he most likely did hit her hard in the face.
Okay, let's be honest. So, have you truly asked him how hard he hit her in the face?
Yes.
And what was his response?
He just looks away and don't answer, or he'll walk away.
You know why he don't answer? Because he has bad memories of the incident that took place immediately after that.
No, that's because he had how hard he hit my mom in the face.
No, it sends him to the sunken place. That's what happens. He, the sunken place, damn near death, being on his deathbed, and then the same person that put him there trying to nurse him back to health. That's. And
if he said that, because if he says that he Ike Turner my mom in the face, then what do you say to that?
I don't know. I would say that he was lying. I would say she threatened him to make him say it. I don't know. He don't remember. The blood loss probably fucked his memory up. How he supposed to remember?
He has not lost his memory of it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is one of the tougher conversations I've had to endure in the D, and I cannot believe the things I'm hearing. Again, I knew from the last week, some of the calls I knew that there was a lot of man abuse going on in America. Y'all just don't want to admit to it. Y'all out here killing me.
Women do not abuse men. Well, let me clarify that. All women do not abuse men.
The majority of them do. I'm sticking to that. I don't know what happened. I feel sorry for that man. That's all I can say is that, my thoughts and prayers are with him, and hopefully that he is able to live a normal life.
Whatever, he is fine.
And I think that,
he's okay.
I had to get to the root of this solution. So I know y'all talking about how to take a look. I had to get to the root cause of this story because I knew that there were some underlying things going on, and I need to know of what's going on. Yeah, look. Here's my deal. If you gotta get awake, just twist a nipple. That'll wake her ass up. You ain't gotta slap her. You ain't gotta get all that. Like I said, I'm heavy-handed, so I don't want to, cause no damage. But
he's heavy-handed. He has big hands.
Okay. Well, then this is still not justified. That's what it was. So he probably he probably issued a line. It was probably just a flick of the wrist. He probably ain't even cock it back. He just probably pat, wake up. And then she just snapped, because she was in a dream. She was having a dream about the abuse, and then she woke up and snapped. What does this have to do with the birds and the bees?
Well,
he'd have been under the flowers that the bees are pollinating if it wouldn't have been for the hospital that saved his life, because he would have been 6 feet under.
Well, that could be what it is. I mean, yeah. That could possibly have happened. But he's heavy-handed.
All right, I think you're making excuses for your mama. Let's just agree.
I'm not making excuses for my mama. He has big hands.
Let's just agree that your mom is crazy, and it's okay because you still love her, whether she's crazy or not, and that's fine.
crazy.
Your mom is crazy. I think she's a good woman.
No.
I'm not saying she ain't a go-getter, but she is crazy.
No. Well, I guess you would have to be to put up with the bullshit she put up with.
I'm just saying. Look, I think she did a good job as far as I know. I don't know how much I know about it, but from the little I've heard about it, I think she did a good job raising, giving you the good game. And she sounds like a go-getter from what you say, putting up and working hard for other people and getting on her grind. But she's a little crazy, and that's it. That's all.
All women are a little crazy. Men make us that way.
Don't blame men. Men ain't do nothing of that. It has nothing to do with men. That's y'all's.
Yes, it does. Men make women crazy.
Man, look, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's all on y'all. Look, accept your responsibilities in this world. Take accountability for your actions. Do not blame me.
She took accountability for her actions.
Man, the attempted murder.
She took accountability for stabbing and biting his finger off.
Attempted murder is not accountability, and attempted finger biting. I don't even know. I have nothing else to add to this. Your mama a little loco, but it's all
okay.
Good. It's all love.
But yeah, back on the subject. Yeah, parents are setting their kids up for failure if they don't educate them young.
Mm-hmm. And parents are setting their partners up for failure by stabbing them to death. Boy, this is tough. All right. Well, outside of that, Miss Miss Shannon, is there anything else you would like to add?
No.
Okay.
No, unless you got something you want to ask.
No, that's all I got. That's all I got. I've learned something new today.
All right. Bye.
I appreciate the call, but I like Miss Shannon, but her mom is crazy. I don't care what she tell y'all. She's biased because that's her mama, but her mama crazy. Sounds like a good lady for the most part, but she crazy. Oh, this is tough. Only in the den, man. For those of you who did not know, we started off talking about the birds and the bees, and we kind of addressed some other situations, and about education and when should you educate the children about what's the appropriate time, and how you should educate the children, and should you teach them abstinence, should you teach them contraceptives, and how to protect yourself if you are going to safe sex. That's the word. Should you how in detail should you go at what age, and all these things. And I think for the most part people had some very good points. But as always happens in the den, we went down a rabbit hole, and not a Mr. Rabbit, but a rabbit hole. And I don't know how we got there, but today in this den we have discovered that Shannon's mom is not a killer, but don't push her. Okay. And that's tough. That's tough stuff. So I don't know. I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know what's happening. Yeah, if you catching the conversation, Trilla, still Shannon. Yeah. So I don't even know. I'm scared. Look, I'm scared if I ever have to look if Shannon ever get to acting up and I have to hit Shannon with the Maria speech, she might come get me, y'all. So if anything ever happens, y'all just pray for your boy. No, I don't think it'll come to that. But man, here is the deal. Okay, we got a call coming in. Let's take this call. We'll wrap it up after this one. Oh man, what's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this afternoon now?
It's Professor Trill. What's up, Honcho?
What's the motherfucking deal, Professor Trill? What's on your mind this afternoon?
I had a question. Why do they call it the birds and the bees in the first place?
I try to answer that halfway. I don't know. I know it's something about the bees pollinating. I think the bees are supposed to represent the men. You know, being able to because they go, how they go from flower to flower, they take whatever from pollen from one flower that helps inseminate the other flowers and make them grow. I don't know what the birds do. Maybe the birds are, even though Miss K. Gray said the birds are the men because they fly away and leave the nest. But birds, I think, are supposed to be maybe the women because they nurture the egg or what. I have no idea. Let me see if I can.
I think the birds represent the relationship aspect.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think the bees, because they don't want to use the bee relationship, because that's kind of fucked up. Yeah. It's kind of one-sided like a motherfucker. But
this is true.
It is what it is. But I was listening to people earlier telling about how they learned about sex. I learned from a kinfolk.
Mm.
My two cousins, my two older cousins, they were brothers.
Yeah.
And they asked me, I was 10. I remember exactly. I was 10 years old. And they asked me, you ever seen a pussy before? I'm like, nah. And they said, okay, popped in this VHS. For those of you that know what a fucking VHS is, cool. If you don't know, look it up, goddamn. So they was watching the flick, and they taught me the difference between fucking a chick in a pussy and fucking a chick in the ass. So I had to watch it, and then they brought another one to make, and they was quizzing me on it. Well, is he fucking her in a pussy or fucking her? That's how I learned.
Yeah.
I learned in the afternoon.
Yeah, okay. Well, you had a visual education. They
yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm looking it up, but they don't really have a definition. They're saying it could come from an old song from I guess they're talking about some old songs, maybe some old shows and things like that, but old poetry or whatever. But there's no real definition here. So I'm trying to see, what role is which, but I don't know.
Yeah. And we had that old bullshit ass class that they had in school. Man, I slept through that bullshit. I ain't need to know that shit. Well, I learned about protection and all that shit was from my girl. We learned together because she was in the nursing field.
Yeah.
So before we did the damn thing, she pulled it up on the computer and we looked at the results of STDs. And then we looked at each other and was like, fuck that. Immediately went out and got tested, which I didn't really feel I need to because I was a virgin at the time.
Yeah.
But I did anyway. Of course, I was clear, she was clear. So then we decided to do what we do. But still, we use protect because it's like, fuck that. I saw them pictures, bro, and read them descriptions, my nigga. That ain't the wave, my nigga. It's not at all. And because some of you were like, what the fuck is that? Then when they zoomed out, you was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
I used to say with that scare tactic shit too. They used to show that shit in that class like, yeah, fuck that. Y'all bitches ain't shit. I was blaming all the hoes. I was like, it's all y'all. But yeah, it's some terrible shit out there. Some very disgusting things.
Extremely. Some of them images I still got in my mental files, and I'm regretting talking about it because I'm pulling them up as we speak. I'm a visual person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. Yeah, I think about some of these things now, and that's horrible. It's like, oh man, could you imagine having to live like that? That's
Jesus.
Anyway, let's change the subject because that's terrible. Man, hold on. So when do okay, so that was your experience. So what do you think is an appropriate age to start teaching kids? Or should they, how do you think parents should handle teaching kids the conversation of the birds and the bees?
I understand what Shannon was talking about is when they start asking you, but at 2-3 years old, what actually do you say?
Yeah.
And anything past, mommy and daddy get together, and just kind of a really, really PG overview of it, and then just leave it at that. But some of the kids just don't be satisfied.
Yeah.
And when she was saying 2 to 3, I'm like, she done lost her fucking mind, and then it hit me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they asked that question, especially between the ages of 2 or 3, because more than likely, they got a little brother or a little sister coming after that. So then they're curious, how the hell does that happen?
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what? That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. So, yeah, you got to tell them something, because it's like, okay, mama, how this happen?
Yeah. Why you getting so big? Yeah, why you getting so big over there? And what's the matter? They gonna inquire some things. Yeah, you know. So
yeah, how they gonna get him or her out? You know, I have questions too. How you gonna get out of there? And if he in your stomach, he gonna come out your butt or what? Because I know when I eat something, it goes in my stomach, it come out my ass. So logically, I'm trying to understand. And like, what do you tell them at that point? You know, because certain childs are brighter than others.
Yeah.
Certain children are brighter than others.
Yeah.
So you have to really walk that minefield and try to answer that question enough to where they satisfied and no longer curious. Yeah. So it depends on the child, really.
Yeah, I agree.
And what stage of development they in. So
I agree.
But if they don't understand the risk of unprotected sex by the time they about 11 or 12, you fucking up.
Yeah.
You fucking up. Especially the boys. Especially them. Because my mama never talked to me about that shit. She never did. It only came up once. And then she just kind of looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was like, I'm good. She was like, okay. And then that was it. that was the breadth of that conversation. But I learned by experience. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? My first got together, you know, the day before, you know, because, of course, I had it all planned out. Nigga went and bought a pack of condoms, and I learned how to put the motherfucker on.
Yeah.
I practiced, and, of course, you know, you make that fatal mistake with the first one when you unroll that bitch. to see what it looked like, and then you compare, and you try to roll that motherfucker back up, and you'll never roll that bitch up the way it was rolled up.
No, it's done. After that bitch is exposed, it's done. It's it.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap for that. You can't put it on that way either. So if motherfuckers out there putting that motherfucker where it's unrolled, I don't know what the fuck you doing, bro.
Man, some new science or some shit going on. I don't know. That's tough, but yeah, I definitely agree that you have to start educating them at this age, especially nowadays, because there's so much shit going on. And even though like motherfuckers was fast when we was young, motherfuckers are faster now. It's just they doing any and everything. So I agree. By the time they are in that pubescent stage, you have to educate them, because that's what things are going to start happening.
Right around 6th, 7th grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, motherfuckers be coming to school pregnant.
Yeah, I knew if something had 1 or 2 by the time they got out of middle school. So that's the crazy shit. That's the craziness, you know. But when I kind of found out and discovered who, you know, they background and some other things, it's just like, oh, well, that makes sense. That explains it all right there, you know. So there's people not having them conversations. They not knowing what's going on, and it's so many factors that I think can play it. And it's not always, you know, just that sometimes motherfuckers just being too fast and doing too much and fuck it up. But that education, that those small conversations will save somebody a lifetime, or at least 18 years of discomfort until they're ready. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's important to have those combos.
I agree. But when Roman was talking, the only question that was in my mind was, what position was they in when he walked in? I wanted to know. Because Honcho, you know as well as I do, certain positions is worse than others.
Bro.
I understand the whole scene is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see some fucked up position, you're going to be like, the fuck y'all doing, bro?
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. If you had to bet money on it, what position would you say it was?
Probably missionary.
Okay.
Because that's probably like the most quiet, because I don't know. I would say with all the practice that fellas got, I'm pretty sure we got more control when we on top, you know, because he
Yeah.
said they was in their grandma's house, the kids was present, so they was more than likely trying to be quiet.
Okay. Yeah, that's that's an interesting one. You know, that's crazy. Fortunately, I've never had that happen. I don't think I ever had I know for a fact I never had a walk-in. So I'm fortunate.
But no, I'm lying. I had my little brother walk in on me.
Oh well, I think the other way around might be different.
And I found out 2 months ago that he knew. At the time, I thought I got away with it because he said, "Hey, what y'all doing?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Fucking." And then he slapped me. And then he said, "What? Nothing?" I said, "Yeah, nothing." A couple of months ago, he was like, "Bro, I knew exactly what y'all was doing."
Yeah. They're playing dumb. Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever had this situation. I don't think there's ever been a thing that I've had to deal with. I think I've been pretty
My
fortunate.
situation was kind of forced
Yeah.
because, you know, whenever I had my girl over, I couldn't close my door, so my door was wide open, and their rooms was right next to mine. So he just walked right in because there ain't no sense in knocking if the door open.
Yeah.
You know, and I was getting a little side thing. I'm talking about.
Okay. Man, that's tough. Like, you know, sometimes when you gotta get it, babe. Now here's the thing, though. You know, but motherfucker, that again, like I say, now I don't think that there's ever been a situation where an unwanted party has walked in. I remember I had a hating ass homeboy though. This, you know, we had, you know, come across a little go live. There was actually a couple of them, and we was at my partner's house, and this hating ass nigga, he was like, this nigga was just trying his damn, he knocking all on the door. This nigga went outside knocking all on the window, doing all this shit. I'm like, nigga, the hoes hate you. It's not going to work for you. Just give it up. You fucking it up for the rest of us. Like, that nigga couldn't get invited over no more. It's just like, you gotta understand your place, man. Sometimes you go win, sometimes you go lose. This situation you lost, you just really fucking it up. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Outside of that, I think that's about as close as it had ever been to a walk. No, well, I don't know. Technically, we wasn't fucking though. I had a coach walk in on me one time, but the chick just ended up crashing the night at the dorm or whatever, because my ass wasn't going to class, so they started sending coaches to make sure I was going to class. And I had fucked her the night before, you know, we both laid up in that bitch naked. I fell asleep. You know, I was like, fuck it, I ain't sent her back to school, because she had actually, I think she went to PV, and this when I was at U of H. So it was late when she came through, so I was like, I'll let you make it. You know, this is a one-time thing, don't get comfortable. And they come busting in the room. She nigga, oh, sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. That nigga was so embarrassed. That shit was funny as fuck, because he was an old country nigga, but he was embarrassed like a motherfucker. I thought that shit was funny as fuck. I wasn't really even tripping. I was like, you know, and they said, well come on, you know, you gotta go to class, and sorry, ma'am, you know, it's time for me to go to class. He felt like some type of like, nigga, you darker than me. How the fuck you blushing, nigga? What's going on? You gotta check what's going on. It's cool, man. It happens. I'm on the way to class. It's all good. But yeah, that shit was funny. That shit was funny, shit. But yeah, outside of that, I think that's about as close as it came now that I think about it. Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I had. It's probably going to be one of the shortest calls I've ever had.
Okay.
But I'd like just to send a special shout out to Miss Rashida. I am out here in Chicago, so holla at me.
Shot time. That's a BET. Shout out to J. This Professor Trio, man.
All right, man.
Nah, already. See, Rashida ain't gonna be talking that shit now. She was talking all that shit in the chat. She ain't gonna talk that shit now. She gonna get quiet. Interesting. Yeah, that's all it was. I'm like, shit, man. I'm like, man, ain't Trumps don't even trip. She just a jump off, man. Don't even trip on it, man. So it is what it is, man. I don't know some of these motherfuckers here. But, what you said, Ferguson? I don't know. I'm not sure about who that is. I have to look into it. That's funny. But here's the deal. Now, there y'all go with that switching it up. Look, Rashida done ducked out. She's like, nah, I don't want no Plex. We're going to get ready to wrap it up, man. It is, well, actually, I started late, so it's actually been past noon for a little bit. But we will be back this evening at 10. It's time for me to eat something. I gotta engage my window. I fucked around yesterday. I didn't even eat until like 4 o'clock. But, so I got a small eating window, so I'm finna go get something to eat because I'm fucking hungry. And I appreciate y'all for coming through. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate all the input. I don't appreciate people getting stabbed for nothing. I don't appreciate fingers getting bit off, but I do appreciate Miss Shannon. You know, she can't help that. But I fuck with y'all. I appreciate all of y'all. I'm finna slide up out of here. Make sure again, I mean, you know, I gotta do the proper protocol. Make sure you hit that like button, man. Hit that subscribe button. Shout out to everybody who called in this morning, afternoonish, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you follow all the proper Den socials, Den Show Live, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all Den Show Live, Den Show Live at Gmail if you got something you want to send by email. Freestyle King in here. Go get you one of these shirts. Never seen a hater in real life. Get you one. DenShowShop.com. Yes, they have ladies styles. You know, for the ladies. Make sure you go to DenShowPodcast.com because, like I said, I'm starting to drop some content on there. If you don't have to, if you can't watch, you can always listen. You know what I mean? Live every night, 7 days a week, 10 p.m. Central. Make sure you tune in. And every morning, weekdays, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central. But I appreciate all of y'all. Did I hit everything? Oh, yeah. Honcho HTX, if you want to follow my personal social medias. I appreciate everybody who has shown some love the last few days. If you want to make a one-time support donation to the channel, you can go to streamlabs.com/thedenshow. If you would like to pledge to the channel on a monthly basis, I could not click the same button, I could actually click the right button. You can go to patreon.com/thedenshow. Shout out to James, Stina Starry-Eye, Dan the Man, Diana, and Miss Goya. I appreciate all the love. I thank you all. Yeah, I was reading up on this story. Shout out to Miss V. Darko. She sent me that story about the Army vet, and they're saying that they took all that out to do an autopsy because they use an independent autopsy place and that they can't talk. I mean, it's very, very peculiar, very, very peculiar situation. I'm gonna look more into that and probably talk about that soon. I got a couple of things I got to talk about today. But with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, an honor, a pleasure, a privilege to get to chop it up with you each morning and each afternoon. Thank you. And hopefully I'll catch y'all later this evening. Bring a friend to the den tonight. It's going to get wild. Might not get that wild. Oh, there go Rashida. Look, she ran from when Jay Dizzle called loud. Now look at her. She in there trying to pimp something. That's all I'm talking about. I fucks with y'all. I'm go. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Y'all ain't got to go home or whatever y'all doing, but I'm getting the fuck up out of here and going to get something to eat. What y'all talking about? I can't do both. Yeah, today was some craziness. I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know what's happening. I feel violated. I feel like my life is in danger after this stream. But we go see what's up.